Hello, my name is Rowan. I was 22 at the time. That year, we had just lost our family. My sister Marlowe and I decided to leave the city for a few days and go to a small town where our cousin lived. Everything in the city had piled up on us. The same streets, the same noises had started to feel suffocating. One evening, Marlowe said, "Let's go to Cousin Sloane's place. We can breathe a little." A short rural escape sounded like a good idea. 2 days later, we had arranged our schedules and finished preparing. Our Aunt Nadine welcomed us. Their house was slightly outside the town, surrounded by trees. It had a large yard and was quiet. The first day was completely normal. We talked, laughed, and spoke about how tired we were of the city and how overwhelmed we felt in the evening. Sloane introduced us to her friends, Briar and Tessa. They were around our age. For the first time in a long while, I felt genuinely relaxed. We stayed outside in the garden until late at night. The next day, we walked around the town. The square was small, a few shops, a small fountain. That was where Marlowe's gaze caught on someone. A boy, tall, quiet, someone who didn't look away. I would later learn his name, Silas. Marlowe and he locked eyes. I pulled her by the arm. "Come on," I said. "I was just looking," she whispered. Sloane noticed but didn't say anything. We walked toward the outskirts of town and reached the stream. The view was beautiful, but after a few minutes the trees grew denser. Ahead of us was a dark forest. Sloane stopped. "Let's not go in there," she said. "Why?" I asked. "Everyone around here knows. That forest is cursed. No one goes in." Marlowe laughed and started mocking the idea. Then she noticed how serious our cousin's face was and pulled herself together. "These are just stories. Don't believe things like that." When we returned home that evening, Marlowe was acting strangely. She kept checking her phone and then locking the screen. "Who are you texting?" I asked. "Friends," she said, avoiding my eyes. As it was getting dark, Marlowe suddenly stood up. "I'm going for a walk." "Now?" I asked. "I feel suffocated." I didn't want to let her go alone, but she didn't listen. She shut the door behind her and left. Sloane said, "I'll talk to her," and followed her. "Don't go out," she added to me. Minutes passed. I grew uneasy. Just as I was heading for the door, they returned. Marlowe walked past me and went straight to her room without looking at me. Slamming the door shut, Sloane stayed beside me, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Rowan, I need to tell you something. Marlowe met with Silas today." It felt like a punch to my stomach. I was furious and just as worried. That night, Marlowe didn't speak to me. She turned her back to me in bed. I couldn't sleep. Just after midnight, I felt her get out of bed. She dressed quietly and slipped out through the door. She's probably going to the bathroom, I thought. But after a while, she didn't come back. I checked the back door. It was ajar. I rushed outside. The town felt completely different at night. The street lights were weak. Moonlight stretched the shadows of the trees. I ran toward the square, toward the fountain. From a distance, I saw two silhouettes, Marlowe and a man, Holding hands, Marlowe. I shouted. She didn't hear me. They changed direction and entered the path leading out of town, toward the forest. I ran after them, but they disappeared behind a large tree. The forest was pitch black inside. I didn't want to go in, but I couldn't leave my sister. Just as I was about to step forward, a voice came from behind me. "Don't call her." I turned. It was Sloane. Her face was pale. "If she hears you," she said, "she won't come back." "What are you talking about?" "I can't leave her there," I said. "If you get lost in the forest too, it'll be a bigger disaster," she replied, "with Silas." I asked. Sloane didn't nod. She didn't shake her head either. She looked away. "I'm not sure," she said. A fear I couldn't name settled inside me. We went back home. Our aunt had woken up. We told her everything. We prepared to search together. She tried not to panic, but her hands were shaking. We searched around the forest for hours, but there was no sign of her. Maybe she had come back on her own, we thought. When we returned home, she still wasn't there. Just as the sky was starting to lighten, we heard the door. Marlowe, she was coming in from the garden. She was covered in mud. Her face was white as paper. Her eyes looked as if they hadn't blinked all night. I ran to her. "Where have you been?" She didn't answer. She took a step forward and collapsed. Panic broke out. Sloane called for help. My aunt brought water. When Marlowe came to, she didn't say a single word. Her eyes stared into nothing. She didn't speak, eat, or drink all day. I sat beside her. "Last night, you went into the forest," I said. She looked at me, frowning. "No," she whispered. "I was with you last night." Something cold sank into my stomach. "I saw you," I said. "Everyone went after you." "You were there?" Marlowe shook her head. "No," she said again. "I never went. That night, I stayed in the room with her." She was mumbling in her sleep. Words I didn't understand. Whispers, as if another voice was speaking along with hers. At one point, she sat up and stared at the wall. "They're there," she said. "Who?" I asked. "They won't let me go." When I touched her face, her body was ice cold. Then, everything accelerated. Marlowe stiffened. She clenched her teeth. Foam came from her mouth. Her eyes were open but empty. Blood suddenly ran from her nose. Then she went limp and went silent. When I realized she wasn't breathing, I screamed. We rushed her to the hospital. After checking her pulse, the doctor said, "I'm sorry for your loss. She passed away hours ago." After a brief examination, he said she may have suffered a sudden brain hemorrhage, but there were no signs of trauma to her head. I was losing my mind. Only one person came to my thoughts. Silas. We gave our statements to the police. Sloane's father spoke as well. We went with them to Silas. At first, he denied everything, but eventually he confessed. He and Marlowe had met that night. They had sat by the stream. Then a sound came from the forest. Silas said he told her, "Let's go." Marlowe laughed. "There's nothing there," she said. "Don't believe such nonsense." "I'll show you nothing will happen," and ran into the forest. Silas didn't follow her. He heard a scream. Then silence. Terrified, he left. One of the town elders took us to a man so we could understand what had really happened. People respected him and trusted his knowledge. He had old books and spoke very little. I no longer knew what to believe, but I agreed to go, willing to consider any possibility. He placed one of Marlowe's belongings in front of him. He stayed silent for a long time. Then he said a few things. "Your sister committed a great act of disrespect. The forest didn't take her body. It took her soul. Her body couldn't endure it, and it died. Marlowe had returned, but incomplete. A part of her soul had remained there. What happened in the house that night was a farewell, an incomplete ending." Months passed. I left the town, never to return, but Marlowe still appears in my dreams at night. She always says the same thing, "Sister." The door was left open, and sometimes, at night, I hear it even when I'm not dreaming, like a sound in the forest, when there is no wind at all. Thank you for listening to this story until the very end. If this video affected you, don't forget to support the channel by liking it. For more dark and realistic stories like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. See you in the next story.